Hi guys. So we have come up with a new plan to post a few BGT classics. Yeah, it will definitely start with that famous match at Adelaide in 2014, the one where Virat Kohli made his debut as a Test captain, as MS Dhoni was unavailable due to injury. And I mean, what a match that was, to be honest. Topsy-turvy match, and I'm joined by Ritik and Abhishek, and we will discuss about that match, relive that match, that famous encounter. So, guys, if you're watching this channel for the first time, please subscribe the channel, please press the bell icon, and please share with as many people as possible. So, yeah, I mean, this match was probably a week after the sudden demise of Phil Hughes, a pretty sad incident in Australian cricket history, and everyone was pretty much remorseful regarding that incident. And I mean, Australia batted first. India dropped Ashwin and played Khan Sharma, who was making his debut. And probably looking in hindsight, that was a pretty big blunder from India's part, dropping someone like Ravichandran Ashwin and playing a rookie spinner. And the Indian bowlers were bashed thoroughly. So yeah, I would like to go to Ritik and ask him regarding his views. I mean, at that point of time, it was almost a regularity on India's part to get smashed for 400 plus scores overseas. And this was, I mean, nothing less.
Yeah, I mean, so India's bowling at that time. I mean, it's hard to believe it's the same side that is able to pick 20 wickets nowadays. And Australia, oh man, the way they batted 500 plus runs, automatically the opposition is under pressure. Courtesy some brilliant knocks, 3 centuries, by the way. Steve Smith, David Warner, and Michael Clark. And when it comes to Michael Clark, this guy was facing a lot of troubles, especially with his injuries and all. And this was, I think, towards the end of his career. This guy retired in 2015, and by the way, this match was held in 2014. So yeah, and I mean, Australia's batting, kudos to them, the way they batted. But also, I would like to highlight the point that Saptarshi mentioned, that India's bowling. I mean, you look at the bowlers, Karan Sharma, Varun Aaron. I think that speaks volumes. I don't need to mention much, but yeah, I mean, that was pretty inexperienced, and I mean, you just can't win matches with these bowlers. That's as harshly as I can speak about them. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we as kids used to watch those matches, and I mean, 500 was pretty normal for us in those days for India in overseas. India coming out to bat, everyone was hoping who will lead the charge. I mean, Virat has had a tremendously pathetic tour in England. Will he come back? Will he make a comeback? Everybody was ruling him out, and he's the captain of the side now. And just to mention, I mean, this was a match when none of the big three Aussie pace bowlers whom we know these
Yeah.
days played. I mean, none of them played. Mitch Stark wasn't there. Josh Hazlewood made his debut just the match after this at Gabba. And Pat Cummins was out mostly because he made his debut in 2011 and then came back in 2017 after his injury break. So none of them played. Mitch Johnson was there. India started off losing a couple of wickets here and there, and then Johnson welcomed Kohli with a bouncer. And then I would like to go to Abhishek to recollect whatever happened from there on.
Yes, thank you, Saptarshi. So, as you mentioned, the only question that what India could do in response to Australia's mammoth 500 plus first innings score, we needed some brilliant batting. So, courtesy, I think Murli Vijay's 50 plus, and then Kohli's questions to play in those overseas conditions, coming off, as you mentioned, a horrid and terrible tour of England, and that was some knock, as mentioned, getting welcomed by Mitchell Johnson bouncer. And that time, if you remember, Mitchell Johnson was at the peak of his career. That
Yeah, also some
2013,
good support provided by Chiteshwar Pujara, some 70 odd runs.
yes. So that 2013 Ashes was something different, and then troubling the South African batsman who plays bounce very well. So that time he was at the peak of his career, and the way he tamed Mitchell Johnson with the short pitch ball, pulling him all around the park, was very special. I also remember some of the cover drives placed of Nathan Lyon's bowling, because Nathan Lyon those days in Australia was a force to reckon with, compared to now, which some Asian batsmen find him easy playing with, and in getting the relief when fast bowlers take a break. So, but Nathan Lyon that time was equally dangerous, and the way, as you mentioned, Pujara played. Murli Vijay those time was the overseas man for India. If you compare him
Hmm.
opening in for India, because that time Rohit Sharma was not the opening one was the one opening. So I would say Murli Vijay also played a decent knock. Also will be coming later. The second innings, fourth innings, 99. That was also some knock. So yeah, India I think did well. I think 400, 440 odd something, and they could have been more, but yes, that time Indian batting was also not up to the mark, considering MS Dhoni's absence and Riddhiman Shah, who is not always uh, not good at overseas conditions. If you talk about his batting conditions, Rohit Sharma consistently inconsistent in that number lower down the order. So I would say that India batted way up their expectations, that what they were expected to do. If you talk about the second innings,
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, 4-4-4, that was a pretty good effort from the Indian batters, and everyone was definitely hoping that, I mean, this would be a pretty better tour than the one in England, because India's batting was collapsing badly out there. And then Australia again in the second innings, they batted excellently. David Warner scored yet another 100. And I mean, they were just making fun out there. And then I remember before day 5 started, Michael Clarke made the declaration, and India were given the target of chasing 364 runs in a single day. And then, I mean, so much unfolded on the final day, from Michael Clarke's injury to so many controversial umpire decisions to Vijay and Kohli's runs and Nathan Lyon's final laughter. So yeah, I would like to start with Ritik and then move to Abhishek to unfold that day 5.
Yeah. So final day of the test match, India, I mean, a very big target ahead of them, chasing some 300 odd runs, as you mentioned. And I mean, Murli Vijay, that innings, again, like the way Abhishek mentioned, that he was the go-to guy in overseas series at that time. And Murli Vijay, I would say he was very unlucky to get out on 99, missing out on a well-deserved 100. And Virat Kohli, I mean, this series and this match, I mean, he was just a different player altogether. And again, scoring that brilliant century. Unfortunately, he couldn't take his team past the finish line, and that too. And I would like to just analyze his dismissal here, that he was out of a pretty ordinary delivery actually. Nathan Lyon bowled that delivery. It was bowled very short, a flighted delivery, and I mean, it was very disheartening as a fan to see a batter who was batting so well getting out on such a loose delivery. So yes, I would like to ask Abhishek to continue that.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so Nathan Lyon heroics,
And I
7
would
for on the
tell,
final day.
yeah, as you mentioned, on fifth day pitch, Nathan Lyon was unplayable that day, and the way Murli Vijay, as Ritik mentioned, and the way Virat Kohli played was something else. And we were well on the course to win that match, but we all knew that once Virat Kohli's wicket is gone, then it's like we already, I think we had 5 to
Yeah,
6
so
wickets remaining, but yeah, with Virat Kohli's
I
wicket, it
remember,
was
I
just
mean, 150 odd were needed before the last session started, and then that goes after Vijay's out, those flurry of wickets happened. Even Rahane's dismissal was pretty controversial. Dhawan's dismissal was controversial. Vijay and Kohli could have got out earlier, but then the umpire didn't give, so there were pretty much controversy regarding the umpire's decisions. Saha's out was pretty much foolish looking, because he just tried to step out and smash Nathan Lyon when the ball was turning square, and he got stumped. So I mean, Kohli just didn't get the support, and then finally when he got out, the result was written on the wall.
And this was, by the way, Nathan Lyon's first 10-wicket haul in his international career. So yeah.
but we'll all agree. But that the way Kohli chased that batted that innings, it was a reflection of how Indian team will play future in overseas, and they will give challenge to all the teams, be it England, be it Australia, be it South Africa. And it was the way, I think that particular match shaped India's test wicket future forever, I believe, from becoming number 6 to 7 in test cricket rankings to going till 1, and the rest is history, I would say. So the way Virat Kohli inspired that team to chase even when they lost was something that even if we lost that match, it was one of the test matches which gave India the confidence to fight overseas. And the rest, we are still 4 series have gone past by Border Gavaskar Trophy, and we are still holding the trophy with 2 test series wins in Australia. That speaks volumes of how we have progressed as an overseas team, considering the best overseas team, I would say, in the recent years, the way India has played. So all thanks to that man Virat Kohli, as a captain. Yeah. So
Yeah, so probably a dream that was seen in 2014 but couldn't be fulfilled, but it was eventually fulfilled 7 years later when India won,
Yeah,
chasing another 300 plus total on day
Yes,
five. Maybe the man who saw that dream wasn't there in the team on that day, but his vision was lived by the team, and they ended up chasing a 330 total on day five in Gabba, 320 odd, and
and
won the
breaking the
historic
38
series.
38 years jinx at Gabba, because Gabba
Yeah,
was their fortress, and coming to Gabba, the famous words by Tim Payne to Ashwin, considering
yeah.
so their
So
overconfidence, their ego, everything was smashed at that Gabba ground.
yeah, so I mean, yeah, let's see how India fares this time around with three more tests to go. And we will come up with some other BGT classics and also maybe some other classics of other test matches involving other nations. Please let us know your feedback so that we can post some other content. Till then, cheers and goodbye.